I'm Zach with the Movie Castle. Today we're going to be covering 10 underrated slashers. I looked at my movie collection and I realized there's so many movies I wanted to talk about. Right now on the channel we're only doing 2 videos a week, and I'm like, man, I want to talk about this one, I want to talk about that one. So I thought I'd do a list, 10 slashers that are a little underrated, and I'm using the term underrated a little loosely. The general populace don't really, think or talk about these, but some horror geeks probably already know them. So yeah, underrated's a little loose, and also, this is 10 underrated slashers, not top 10. With top 10, it'd be like the top 10 most definitive, and I'm not really trying to look for the #1 most underrated slasher. I found 10 that I wanted to talk about. I'll probably do volume 2 where I talk about 10 more. And if you guys have any recommendations, I'm always looking for more slasher movies. New, old, and, underrated's a little loose. Horror geeks probably know a few of these. And anyway, yeah, don't pay too much attention to the order either. It's just 10 underrated slashers. Anyway, number 10. Don't go in the woods, ... alone. Now, I think the official title is Don't Go in the Woods, and this alone, it just kind of appears on the cover. On the back, it says Don't Go in the Woods, so... that's weird. But anyway, Don't Go in the Woods Alone is this, really low-budget slasher that takes place in the woods, obviously. And you got this killer, he's got all this, like a big fur coat that's all ratty. He's got a big box that he carries with him. He's, the woodsman, this guy who's a woods hermit, and this movie's got really low-budget charm, and it's a little goofy, it's kind of funny because of that. But overall, I was just really liking this movie when I saw it, even though it's by no means a great piece of art. Not the one to win over your people who aren't slasher fans, but still a fun movie for those of you who are. Great, fun, low budget. Don't Go in the Woods Alone. Number 9, I want to talk about Terror Train. Now, Terror Train stars Jamie Lee Curtis. And it's about these group of kids. It's New Year's Eve, and they're all from the same school, and they're like, we want to have a party on this train. The thing is, though, it's a costume party, so when the killer sneaks onto the train, he can kill someone and then take their costume, so the killer switches costumes all the time in this movie. And, he actually, I think one of them's like a lizard costume, there's a few others, but the one that's most famous, he's got a Groucho Marx mask on. So a horror movie where the killer wears a Groucho Marx mask, that's a cool idea. Anyway, it also takes place on a train, which is super fun. Next up we have The Prowler, and with The Prowler, it's like way back ago there was this dance, and a few people got killed, and now it's like, I think 30 years later, and they're starting to do this dance again, and during the dance party, the killer from way back then, he comes back, or is it someone else? There's a lot of mystery in this one. It's one of those whodunit slashers, and as you can see from the front, he's this guy in old-timey army gear, with the steel hat and the mask around his face. Really good slasher, and if you want the whodunit, this is it. Takes place in this nice little town, going between several buildings, and it's pretty cool. Alright, coming in at number 7, I have The Initiation. Now, The Initiation really surprised me. It's one of those that I had not had on my list, but I was flipping through a dollar bin, and I saw not only a cool, cover, it's like the lady, but she's a candle, and it looked really nice, but then across the top, Midnight Madness series, which they did the Stuff and Slugs and this Midnight Madness label. They put out some good stuff, and I was like, whoa, a Midnight Madness slasher in the dollar bin? I'm picking it up, and it was one of my favorite dollar bin finds. I don't know how it wound up in there. But basically, you have this girl, and she's new to sorority, so she has to do all her stuff like that, and part of their initiation is they have this dare where they have to sneak into this mall that the girl, it's like her girl's dad works at it. I think he's like one of the higher-ups. So, a slasher that takes place in a mall, pretty fun, but it also has this surrealistic element. The main character is plagued with these dreams, and she doesn't quite know what they mean, and she's trying to, figure it out as she goes along what actually is going on. Great slasher, takes place in a mall. Midnight Madness releasing, super fun. Now, this next one, The Intruder. Now, there are several movies. This is actually just Intruder, I'm sorry. There's The Intruder, Intruder, Intruders. This is no The, no S, just Intruder. Directed by Scott Spiegel. So if you're trying to distinguish between all the movies that decided to call themselves Intruder, this one, it's a grocery store after hours that all the employees are just trying to wrap up. They think their store is going to close soon. They're all kind of sad. But then there's an intruder into this grocery store, and he's killing people in fun grocery store related ways. All the kills, or at least most of them, are themed kills in this one. So that is always really, really fun to see a slasher with themed kills. I don't want to spoil them, really. One thing I do want to say, this particular release, they put Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi to try to get all the Evil Dead fans over. I want to clarify this, and to be fair, later releases of this, people had apparently complained enough. The Blu-ray release doesn't have this. Sam Raimi acts with his brother, Ted, and their characters in this movie, they're not the main characters, and Sam Raimi didn't direct this, like I said, Scott Spiegel, and Bruce Campbell has a cameo, but he's not really in the movie for very long. And if you look at the Blu-ray release of this, on the back it just says, keep an eye out for a cameo from Bruce Campbell. Like, this release, the cover is very misleading. Sam Raimi is a character, he's not the director, and he's not the main character, and Bruce Campbell is just a cameo. However, he is a cameo as a cop. He comes in and he plays a cop. And my horror movie geek brain is like, any chance this is the same cop as this cop character from Maniac Cop? I mean, you can't really see the badge too well, so you don't know what his name is, but in my head, this takes place before the events of Maniac Cop. Probably just me being a geek. Ooh. This next one, another one I knew nothing about. Harpoon, Whale Watching Massacre. Whale Watching Massacre, that was... that's funny. This actually has a part from Gunnar Hansen. Gunnar Hansen, he played the original Leatherface in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and he's not the biggest character. He's in the movie for a little bit. He's not the biggest character, but of course gonna put that all over the box. Gunnar Hansen's cool. But this one, they go whale watching, their boat breaks down, they go onto this other boat, and it's kind of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre because it's this, crazy serial killer family. However, they're on a big boat. Anyway, this one, I didn't know what to expect. I think I found this for like $3, $4, and I was like, hey, slasher, Whale Watching Massacre, that's hilarious. Gunnar Hansen's in it for a little bit. I thought I'd pick it up, and it really did surprise me. I was like, that was really entertaining. Slasher family, Texas Chainsaw Massacre on water. Not the classic that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is, but still pretty good. Yeah, I mean, Texas Chainsaw is a classic. This isn't near as good as, I mean, that's like way up there. But still, pretty good, worth a check out. Worth looking at it. $3-4 that I found it for at like Movie Trading Company. That's good, that's cool, I like it. This next one is on my list. Oh man, I was so glad to get this one. Bloody Birthday. So Bloody Birthday is about these 3 kids, and the only backstory you get is that they were born under a bad moon. And these kids, decide to become slashers. And you get a lot of times when there's, the evil kid trope, they either go really dark, and they talk in that not kid voice, or they do really, creepy, this is not a kid thing, or they go overly kiddish, mommy, but this isn't overly creepy, overly kiddish. This is what would happen if real kids decided to do this. And they are doing, all the slasher stuff, but you can really imagine, like, if kids decided to behave this way, this is how they would do it. I mean, it's unrealistic stuff, but from a realistic portrayal of kids, which is really interesting. And you got the older characters. You got, I think, this other boy who's like, oh no, play with them, they're cool, they're your friends, but they're like, no, those kids are messed up. I really like this. Severin release on this one. Severin, you do good stuff. Alright, number 3, we have Pieces. So, Pieces is one of those that I'm like, horror geeks are already going to know about it. I want to talk about it for a little bit. Pieces, Grindhouse releasing. And the tagline on the box is, you don't have to go to Texas for a Chainsaw Massacre, but the more famous one they put on the back of the box, this tagline, it's exactly what you think it is. I love that tagline. Anyway, this movie, it's about a kid. Well, it starts off about a kid, and he's putting together this puzzle, and it's kind of a lewd puzzle about this, not really, but it's something his mother doesn't like. It's this, woman, and he's putting together this puzzle, and the mother's like, how dare you do that? And he, of course, being a kid, chops his mother apart with an axe. So he kills his mother, and the police go, oh no, someone broke into this house and killed the boy's mother. So he goes free, he gets away with it, right? But, the years go by, and you don't know how many years, so you don't really know which character's the boy from the beginning, so it's this mystery. But the kid from the beginning decides, boy, would it be great to have my mother back. What if I took parts from all these other women who have, like, okay, that arm is like my mother's, that leg, and what if I, like, Frankenstein together and brought her back? So it's this maniac killer cutting apart people and stitching together to recreate his mother. And it takes place on a college campus, some really creative kills, and the whole time there's a few people, I mean, from the beginning it's a male character, but you don't know how many years have passed, so you don't know if it's one of the younger ones, one of the older ones, somewhere in the middle. It's, if you like your mysteries, it's one with a mystery element to it. And, great classic end to this one. Great end. Up next, at number 2, we have the Slumber Party Massacre. Now, this copy has all 3. Right now, I'm going to be just talking about part 1. I'll probably cover the other 2 in another list like this, I don't know. Part 1, though, really, the classic things you know a slasher for. And it's about these girls, they decide to have a slumber party. There's a guy on the loose killing people with a power drill. And it's not a super big, complex plot, but it is the classic slasher, I don't know if I said this on the channel before, but, you know, slashers are kind of like sports. You get everyone yelling at the TV, don't do this, why would you go in there? And it is a case of, you know, running around the house, people getting picked off, and it does it really well. And the killer in this one is very well acted. Now, he doesn't wear a mask, and usually that's the thing that, you know, defines a killer, and without a mask, they just kind of blend in. This guy's got jacket, pants, and I think he's wearing denim on denim, a little faux pas, but I don't care about fashion, I'm just making a joke. And he's got this red shirt underneath, but his acting actually makes him really memorable. And you know, slasher actors are usually a little underrated, but you know, they're like, oh, just big guys scare people, but I think even the people that really underrate slasher actors will appreciate this one. He talked about in the bonus features, he did a technique called animalism, where he took little elements from an animal that he picked to give his character unique traits, and I think he said it was a peacock he was inspired by, and the way he acts, the way he moves, and his motivation when you hear it at the end, you're like, okay, that's different. And it's your typical slasher formula, it just does it a little better. Really good, a little underrated. Again, another one that horror geeks are probably already gonna know, but I like it. Next one. Man, kind of a personal favorite of mine. Stage Fright. Number 1, Stage Fright. Man. This comes from Michel Solvia. It's an Italian name. Italian slasher. Now, this is a little late. You know, there's the Giallo period for your horror geeks. Giallo kind of has, like, slasher elements with a little bit of film noir, usually a mystery, several other tropes. And they all came from Italy. Giallo means yellow, in reference to pulp novels. They'd all have those yellow edges. This was a little later and is actually more of a standard slasher, even though it came from Italy. It doesn't have quite as many Giallo elements, and it's more what you'd see a slasher of later. But anyway, Stage Fright, it's about a group of people late at night doing play rehearsals. However, their play is about a killer, and a real life killer shows up, kills the actor that's playing the killer, and takes over the role. Now, again, much like Slumber Party Massacre, it has a simple story and all the slasher tropes, but again, like Slumber Party Massacre, it does it better than most slashers do. The slasher in this one, I've kind of let be my mascot for this video. The slasher, because it's a stage play and who cares about practicality, as long as it looks cool, has a big owl head on. And, you know, you can go, oh, owl's a traditional symbol for evil, but it just looks cool. A big owl head on. He's killing people. In the last chase scene, all this cool stuff up in the rafters, climbing ropes. It was really fun. It's one of those that I wanted to watch again right after I saw it. Anyway, gonna wrap this up because someone's about to come in the door. If you guys know any other underrated slashers, I'd love to hear them. I'll see you guys next time. I'm doing every movie that I saw in June. Alright, have a good day. I'll see you later. Ooh.